President Obama has been, as one reporter calls it, miserly about presidential pardons. And I'm going to give you the exact numbers on that in a second, and her quote in a second as well. But first, let me give you some background. Now, look, he's done some good things in terms of reducing some mandatory minimums on crack offenses, which were way disproportionate to cocaine. It was totally unfair. And on nonviolent drug defendants. So that's good going forward. But how about all the people who are in prison for those same exact offenses that are facing these huge long sentences? Well, so far he's done absolutely nothing to commute their sentence, and even on charges where they're in jail for things that aren't even illegal anymore. Sad day, no pardon, no commute. Now, it's not that he hasn't pardoned anyone, as you'll see, but he is breaking records for how little he pardons people. You know that there are over 5,000 people that are still serving time under the old laws for crack cocaine, laws that don't apply in terms of the harsh sentencing that they got at this juncture. So they changed the laws. Sorry, you were sentenced under the old laws, and President Obama hasn't done anything to change that. Now, one of the reasons is that the person who's in charge of pardons and commutations is Ronald Rodgers. Well, who's Ronald Rodgers? Well, he's a holdover from the Bush administration. Of course! Why does President Obama keep all of these right-wingers from the Bush administration? You know, we keep seeing this evidence that President Obama is not a progressive, and every time, whether it's the FDA or it's the DEA, it's the Justice Department, it's this situation, we're always like, why did he keep the right winger? Why did he keep the right winger? Why did he bring Rahm Emanuel as his chief of staff, who's the most right-wing so-called Democrat there is in the country? Why did he bring in Larry Summers and Tim Geithner, who are the most right-wing Democrats, so-called Democrats? Tim Geithner wasn't even a Democrat. Why did he bring them in to lead his economic team? Maybe if you put all that together, you realize he's not a progressive. Rodgers used to be a former prosecutor for the Department of Justice's narcotic and dangerous drug section as well. So here's a guy who has been, hard on the war on drugs in the past, worked for the Bush administration, and Obama puts him in charge of pardons and commutations, and shockingly, it turns out there isn't very many pardons. All right, so let's go to the numbers. Now, and quotes. First of all, managing editor of MSNBC.com, Dafna Linzer, spearheaded an investigation into this, actually for the Washington Post and Pro-Publica. And they said this president is the most miserly pardoner of any modern president. So those very strong language. Now let's compare him to a fellow Democrat. Clinton issued 396 pardons and 61 commutations. Barack Obama, over 5 years, has done only 39 pardons and just 1 commutation. That's unbelievable. That's only 10%. Now, Clinton, of course, was in office for 8 years, but I'm going to give you the apples to apples in a second. But that's 1/10 of what Clinton did on the pardons and even less on commuting people's sentences. Now, why is Obama doing this? Partly because he's not at all progressive and doesn't give a damn about those people, and partly because he's scared to death of what the Republicans might say. Remember when Bill Clinton commuted Mark Rich's sentence at the end of his term, which he shouldn't have done. He was a rich guy whose family was a donor, etc. That caused a huge controversy. So Obama's like, oh my God, if I pardon some people that actually deserve to be pardoned, the Republicans at some point might criticize me and it might be all over Fox News. So in order to avoid the 0.0001% chance that it might do me a tiny bit of political damage, now I'm going to keep those people in prison anyway. Justice, no justice, who cares? And by the way, they're the only chance, the only chance they have is me. If you're President Obama, that's the reality, right? For a lot of these people, they have exhausted their appeals and they can only get pardoned or commuted, especially because of the mandatory minimums. They must stay in prison, no matter how unjust it is. I always think of Stephanie George. $160 worth of drugs. She's got a life sentence because of 3 strikes. She got her college degree in prison. In the last case, New York Times explains she was almost certainly set up by her boyfriend. She didn't even do it for $160 worth of drugs. HSBC, the biggest money launderer for the drug cartels in world history, no one went to prison. She's rotting in jail. But oh my God, if you pardon her or you commute her sentence, that might cause you a tiny bit of political damage. That gives you a sense of how selfish President Obama is. And get it through your head, he's a politician. The person he cares most about is Barack Obama. So finally, apples to apples numbers here. Of the different pardon applications, Clinton did 1 in 8 of those applications, pardoned them. George W. Bush was much worse. He only pardoned 1 in 33. But nowhere as bad as Barack Obama, who's only pardoned 1 in 50. He's not just significantly worse than Bill Clinton. He's significantly worse than George W. Bush. God forbid the great Barack Obama could be dented even a tiny bit in his political armor. No. You'll have to spend the rest of your life in jail. We wouldn't want to risk that.